Welcome back to another episode of Hot Air with me, Joshua Robert. And before we get into all of the goodness that I have to share with you today, I get really self-conscious when I sit down and I record these episodes where it's just me, because I'm like, who the fuck do you think you are, Dr. Phil? Like, get a grip. And then I start being like, what am I even doing? Do I even need to do this podcast? The spiral just goes and goes and goes. And so right before I sat down to do this episode, I was like, you know what? I'm going to pull one of my affirmation cards. Maybe it will give me a little inspo here. It'll calm me down. And the card said, that thing you're self-conscious about is what makes you light up the fucking room. And I said, damn right, bitch, I'm going to go get me a glass of wine and I'm going to sit down and record this podcast as if I know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. Fake it till you make it. And that's what we're going to do today. One more thing before we get into the good stuff. It's very, very helpful if you rate my podcast. So if you're in Apple Podcasts, scroll on down just a little bit, click those 5 stars, because obviously I deserve 5 stars. You can leave a little review that just simply says, love it, or Josh is annoying, or Dr. Phil wannabe, whatever the hell you want to put there, just leave a review. It starts bumping it up in those lists of podcasts and more people will see it. And of course, share it. Send it to your friends and family that you feel could benefit from whatever the hell I'm talking about on whatever episode it might be. And now we'll get into the juicy good. We are talking about terrible dating advice. And some of this advice I used to follow and I used to think was great. And I used to think was the advice of all advice. But come to find out, it's not helpful at all. And dating is already complicated, and we seem to make it much more complicated with weird tools that we get from randos on the internet, except for me, because I'm giving you some good tools today. There's a lot of shitty dating advice out there. So I'm going to break it down. I've got 5 pieces of terrible dating advice. We're going to kind of analyze it, kind of give you a way to shift it and reframe it. Needless to say, in some of this terrible advice, there is a little bit of a little grain of goodness that we can take. It comes from somewhere good, but we're probably not using it in the best way. So then once we reframe it, we're going to figure out how to use the terrible advice to our benefit, or just fuck it and not use the advice at all. Okay, I'm yapping too much. Grab your wine, put on your robe. That's what I'm doing. Sit down, get comfy, and let's get into 5 terrible pieces of dating advice, how to reframe them, and make it into some good advice so we can date healthier. Dokie, let's get to the good stuff. I have recently been dating more intentionally, and truth be told, I had a massive breakdown in January for a multitude of reasons, which I may or may not have hinted at in a previous episode. But that is what kind of sent me on this journey of sorting out why I was dating and things just were not going correctly. And it made me inquire with my therapist and talk to my friends and start reading the books and listening to other podcasts from experts in the dating world, educated people, not those like randos, again, that are giving you terrible advice, but people that actually know what they're talking about, like Mel Robbins, obsessed with her, Sabrina Zohar, obsessed with her. Talked about her in the last episode that I did with Brittany about limerence. So if you have not listened to that, you probably should, because we're all guilty of a little limerence here and there, some more than others, aka me. And I wanted to begin dating with more confidence, with less pressure on myself, not feeling so much rejection if it doesn't work out, or if someone doesn't text me back, or if somebody doesn't respond on Grindr or match with me on Tinder, or just stops texting on Hinge. All of those things that we kind of really overthink, that we think matter, and they really fucking don't, but they take a bit of a toll on us. And then I generally, after a few terrible dates, I'll be like, I'm going into hiding for a year. No mas, I'm over it. So a lot of the terrible dating advice I'm going to talk about, I am guilty of applying to dating, but I've learned a lot about how to reframe those things lately, and so helpful. I feel so calm, so cool, collected, confident when I've been going on dates recently, and it just makes a world of difference when you take the pressure off of yourself. So again, just in case you need to know what the structure of this episode is going to be, I'm basically saying this for myself. We've got 5 terrible tips, and we've broken them down into 6 sections. Why it doesn't work, how it holds us back, how to reframe it, why reframing it helps, an example, and what the lesson is. Super, great. I'm professional. Let's start with... Let me hydrate first with this Trader Joe's white wine. All right. This one is actually my favorite. This is the one that made me start thinking about all of the other terrible dating advice. If he wanted to, he would. Or let me reframe that. If they wanted to, they would, because it goes for everyone. The amount of times I've been like, well, if he wanted to text me, he would. If he wanted to ask me out, he would. If he wanted to hang out again, he would. Is it really that simple? No, the fuck, it's not. So why it doesn't work? This one feels empowering at first. Like it's reminding us kind of not to settle. And we all love a boundary. However, it oversimplifies human behavior. It assumes that everybody has the exact same communication style, that everyone has the same level of self-awareness and emotional availability, and we know that is not the case. It ignores things like the fear of rejection, trauma responses, insecure attachment, which I have, anxiety, which I have, depression, or just being a human in this fucking hellscape of modern dating. It is hard out there for a pimp. I think I can still say that. It's not black and white. If he wanted to, he would, is black and white advice in a Technicolor world. We're going to have a lot of really cool quotes here, things that could be quoted specifically for Instagram. But true, it's a black and white piece of advice in a Technicolor world. It doesn't take into account people's jobs, people's hobbies, people's family, friends, their plans, travel. It just ignores the facts of fucking life. And here is how it holds us back. This advice encourages us to give up way too soon. It tells us to write people off based on one-off behavior. So if he wanted to text me, he would. So we're never going to text them either. And that's just it. We just write these people off. We never have to dig any deeper. We stop giving people a chance to show their growth or show any type of nuance. Like, let the people warm up to you. Let them put in a bit of work, but let them show you who they are, and don't cut them off right from the get-go because they didn't do one thing you were hoping that they would. Plus, it puts you in a passive mindset where the other person has to do everything, and you just sit back waiting for them to come and rescue you and to be chosen. And I think about this a lot because there are times when my mind will go back into, well, if he wanted to text me, he would, but I haven't texted him either. So maybe he's thinking the same thing. Is he thinking I'm not interested and I'm thinking he's not interested and we're both just waiting for somebody to text? If he wanted to, he would. Also goes both ways, even though it's not great advice. Now that we know that it's bad advice, let's reframe it with, if they want to, they might, but relationships are co-created. It's not just about wanting to, it's also about being ready to. Also, if you want something, you can act on it too. And I love the part about not being ready to. I believe it was Sabrina Zohar who said something along those lines about, well, if he wanted to commit to me, he would, but maybe he's just not ready to commit right now. He might be the right one at the wrong time. It's really not that simple. And reframing it this way, it helps to shift us out of that victim mode and into empowerment, as I said before. It says like, I can express my needs. I'm allowed to ask for clarity. And you're not just sitting on your phone, refreshing your texts, waiting to see if they text you back or call you or ask you out again. You are participating when you begin to express yourself. So here is a wonderful example. Instead of assuming that somebody does not like you because they have not texted you first, you can text someone and you can say, hey, we haven't talked much this week. Do you want to catch up soon? How's it going? Like, keep it simple, keep it clear. And they're going to respond and you're going to know where you stand. It is all about clarity over chaos. Don't overthink it. Here's the lesson. Stop expecting people to be mind readers with perfect timing. You show up, you ask, you communicate. If they're not in it with you, then you can bounce once you have the information and not the drama. So don't be afraid to text them first. As a matter of fact, where's my phone? I'm going to text right now the guy that I'm supposed to go on a date with next week because I have not checked in a little bit this week. So I'm going to text him and just be like, hey, what's poppin'? Because I was waiting for him to text me, but I'm going to do it first. BRB. Pause your thoughts. Hey, daddy, what's poppin'? You up? I'm kidding. That's not what I said. And would you look at that? That was bad advice number 1 that we just turned around and made into a wonderful piece of advice. And we have 4 more. So bad advice number 2. This is a bit of an exaggeration, but wait 3 days to text back. Waiting to text back in general, making someone wait on you. And here's why it doesn't work. This is basically a manipulation tactic disguised as being super cool and busy and popular. But we're not in middle school anymore. Unless you're listening to this and you're in middle school, then keep doing you. But if you're a grown adult who pays your own rent and your bills, we're not fucking playing that game anymore. Well, I guess also, unless your crush is also acting like a child, then by all means, make them wait. But let's pretend we're both adults here in this dating relationship. Waiting to text back does not make you mysterious. It makes you look misinterested, flaky, and or emotionally unavailable. And here's how it holds us back. It keeps us playing roles instead of being real. You're playing a game instead of being your authentic self by saying, well, I'm going to wait an hour to text him back. You're so busy trying to appear aloof that you never get to show who you actually are. You're focusing on the wrong things instead of letting someone experience who you really are. And then you attract people who are into the character that you are playing, not the person that you actually are. Somebody could have waited a while to text you back because they were in a meeting or their phone died or they left their phone at the office or something. And you think they're just playing a game because you're about to play a game. So you make them wait when actually they were just busy because they have a life. So let's reframe it. Very simple. Text when you feel like it. That's it. Text someone when you feel like it. Don't be crazy. Don't go texting 700 times. Oh, you didn't respond. Hey, are you there? Like, cuckoo. Text someone when you feel like it. And when the conversation starts to end, it's okay to let it end. I am guilty of trying to keep conversations going. But when it comes to a natural close where there is no need for you to respond, if you feel like you have to respond with a question, you're pushing the conversation past the point in which it should have ended. Reframe it. Text when you feel like it. Also, if the vibe is there, you don't need to build tension by ignoring someone. When I met my longest term relationship, in which there was a union, a legal union, I never once overthought whether I should or should not text, and nor did he. It was just okay. It was just comfortable. It could be in the middle of the day, be like, hey, hope your day's going well, or like thinking about you, or whatever it is. When you're in that comfort zone, you don't have to overthink if you should be texting someone or not, right? So don't try to build the tension. The connection should do that on its own. Why reframing this helps? It helps you connect, not control. Another great one for Instagram. It helps you connect, not control. Genuine responses foster trust, which leads to deeper intimacy. And let's be real, if someone ghosts you because you texted them too soon, you did not lose your soulmate. you dodged a red flag. Very simple. If someone is thrown off by you texting them, if someone is intimidated because you responded too quick, they are thinking, oh my God, they're desperation, like they have nothing better to do. If that's where their mind is going to go, that bitch is not the one for you. Let's be clear. You're dodging a red flag. Here's an example. If you want to text back 10 minutes after the date ends saying, I had a great time, do it. What's the big deal? If someone is scared by you saying, I had a great time, they are not the one for you. It is not thirsty. I think it's hot and it is mature. Now, if someone texts you after the date and is like, want to come over, you up, that's thirsty. Could be hot depending on what you're looking for that evening. I wouldn't recommend it. But letting someone know you had a good time, that you would like to do it again, if you did not say that at the end of a date, it's not a big deal. The other day, I went on a date and I said, let me know when you get home. Text me when you get home. He did. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they go home and they never text you again. But he did. He let me know that he got home. We sent a few texts back and forth. Very simple, very quick, very easy. Said, have a great night. End of story. Very simple. It wasn't scary. It wasn't intimidating. I didn't ignore him or ghost him or make him wait, because if you're scared of texting, you're not mature enough for a relationship. Here's the lesson. Authenticity is magnetic. You do not need a strategy. You need sincerity. Be real, or you're going to end up with someone who loves you for the pretend you and not the actual you. Someone who loves you for the mask and not your face. That was a good one too. You get what I'm saying. Just be real. Be open. Don't overthink it. If you want to text someone, text them. It's really not that deep. Here's a really quick example of when I used to do this, and I used to live by this rule. I used to make them wait. One of my friends, who I'm no longer friends with anymore because she turned into a real see you next Tuesday, she told me that she read somewhere in some book that, God, I'm being condescending already. She read somewhere in a book that if someone that you're dating responds to you and it takes them 30 minutes to respond, you should times that by 3, and that's how long you're going to wait to text them back. And I used to live by this. It took them an hour. I would wait 3 hours. What a waste of time. What a waste of energy. What a waste of just using your brain for something so stupid. So what? It took them an hour to text you back. There's 24 hours in a day, people. It's not that deep. Glad I'm not friends with her anymore. Glad I don't listen to that advice anymore. I no longer wait to text someone back unless I'm extremely busy and life gets in the way. Text them when you want to. Moving right along. Bad advice. Number 3, make them jealous to get their attention. All guilty. Every single one of us that's listening right now, including myself, listening to myself talk, trying to post things on Instagram to get people's attention. I did this just a few months ago and I no longer do it, but I definitely used to. I was so intentional about the stuff I was posting on Instagram because I knew certain things I would post would get a reaction from the guy that I was interested in. And here is why it does not work. This one is rooted in insecurity. Shocking. I know. It's all about trying to elicit emotion rather than just sharing it. You're not building attraction, you are weaponizing it. And here is how making them jealous holds us back. Jealousy might grab someone's attention initially, but it does not keep it. You are going to end up playing a tug of war with their ego and definitely not their heart. And in the long run, this creates unstable, competitive, even toxic dynamics. And once you set the tone for those mind games, they're not going to stop, and good luck trying to get anything real from it. Again, this goes with almost all of these rules. When you set the tone with manipulation or these games or these really stupid pieces of advice and you're following these rules because you think it's going to reel them in, you're playing too many games. You're not starting with a foundation that is built on trust and you just being you. So let's reframe, make them jealous to get their attention. First, don't do the drama. Don't stir the pot to get their attention. It's much easier to just state your needs and your desires clearly. If you like someone and you are throwing up thirst traps every day on your Instagram story, like I was, because you think you are going to get attention from that man, and you do get attention from that man. However, it ends up not being the attention that you actually want from that relationship that you would like with that said man. Instead, in that situation, I could have been very upfront. I could have asked what the hell was going on here. I could have been clear and said, I know what I'm looking for. What are you looking for? And it would have cut that whole pseudo relationship down by weeks. And then I probably would not have cried so much in January. But anyway, that's another story for another time. However, just stating your needs and desires clearly, you're not going to have to make them jealous because you're going to know where they're at and if they're into you. And also, if you want attention, ask for connection, not for confusion. Making people jealous just adds a whole lot of confusion into an already confusing situationship. Why this reframing helps. This invites real conversations. You're going to open up. You're going to chit chat about it. It invites people who want to show up for you, not people who only show up when they think that they're losing you. That just hits home. When someone is like, oh, they're hot. Oh, the Instagram story thing is going to be like my main point. But when I was posting those Instagram stories, that guy that I liked, that I felt was slowly slipping away, would comment, and that would give me a little bit of a good butterfly-y feeling. However, the only reason he was responding is because I looked good in those pictures, not because he missed me, not because he wanted me, just because he probably wanted me to respond and give him some attention because he felt like we were, which we were, drifting away. It's just such a waste of time. You want people that want you. That's it. You want people that want you. Here's a good example. Instead of posting thirst traps to trigger someone, why don't you send a simple text like, hey, I'd love to get together this week if you're free. Oh, well, that's simple and that's easy. Who'da thunk? That takes some fucking guts to put yourself out there and say, hey, I want to spend time with you this week. Are you free? That is so much more admirable than posting thirst traps on Instagram. Then you're going to attract the right kind of person who appreciates all that kind of courage. The lesson here is that jealousy might make them look. They're going to check you out. They're going to be turned on by you. But vulnerability is going to make them stay. So if you are ready for something serious, go for the long game. Vulnerability is where it is at. I feel like I want to write jingles for these. We've got to number 4. That was good. Might put some auto-tune on that. All right. Bad advice number 4. My lucky number. You have to love yourself first before anyone else can. And there is some truth in that. You have to be a relative. I mean, I guess not. There's some absolutely insane people out there that are in love and married and seem happy. I don't know. But you do have to have your shit together. And I think finding a meaningful, long-lasting relationship and love that is going to be everlasting. How many times can I say last? If you want something real, you do have to know. You have to know yourself pretty damn well. But it just gets a little confusing. It's like, well, if I don't completely love myself, then what? Nobody's going to love me? Is that what people are saying? Because we're all, I hope, working on ourselves. I love myself. Could I love myself more? Yes. Have I loved myself? Yes. Less. Yes. Less. I'm mixing up those words. Have I loved myself less? Yes. What a hot fucking mess I am right now. But needless to say, love is on a spectrum, just like that amazing TV show. And you can love yourself to the high heavens, or you can just love yourself a little bit. You're still loving yourself. It doesn't mean you're not worthy of somebody else loving you. So here is why this doesn't work. It's well-meaning, right? At first glance, it's well-meaning, but it turns self-love into a prerequisite instead of a process. Much more eloquent way to say what I was just blabbing on about. Most people do not fully love themselves, right? Who can love every single solitary thing about themselves? Nobody. But many of us learn how to love ourselves better by being in safe, supportive relationships, romantic or otherwise. So that could be friendships and relationships with your family. But when we feel safe and supported and loved by other people, we learn that we can love ourselves. My ex did not love that I was super artistic and creative and my fashion sense. But I briefly dated a guy after who did. And it really made me dive into my art and my painting and feel comfortable just dressing how I wanted. It really makes a difference when you are being loved by somebody who loves you for the right reasons. How this holds us back. This advice can make you feel like you're disqualified from love until you've achieved some arbitrary level of like inner peace and inner love and all of that. It puts the burden of perfection on people who are already struggling and dismisses the healing power of connection. Because I get nervous about connection, but it can feel very, very nice. That intimacy, you just feel calm, you feel cool, you feel collected. When someone's doing it right, it just reminds you that you're okay, that you're protected. So let's reframe this. I'm so excited to reframe this. Loving yourself is a journey, and being loved by others can help you along the way. Isn't that so cute? Loving yourself is a journey, and being loved by others can help you along the way. I feel like I just want to end the entire episode there because I just fucking love that so much. You could also try this. I love the first one, but if you want to reframe it even more, you are allowed to be loved while healing. Okay, now that I've said it again out loud, I also love that one. You're allowed to be loved while you are healing. Love isn't earned through perfection. It is embraced through presence. Both wonderful ways to reframe that. I feel like, am I getting emotional? No, not today, Josh. Get your shit together. You've got one more tip after this. Here's why reframing it is going to help. It makes space for both self-compassion and relational growth. You realize you do not have to arrive somewhere before you can even be seen or cherished. You don't have to there's not an end game here. There's not a point you have to get to with self-love. And once you get to that final boss of self-love, your knight in shining armor, your soulmate is going to be on the other side of the door when you open it in the morning. That's not how it fucking works. Just work on yourself. Try to better yourself, try to learn, try to grow, do what you can to make yourself feel good as an individual, because I do believe that is important, because then you will not be fully reliant on someone else making you feel good. But while you're working on yourself along the way, you should be open to meeting someone that is going to also nourish you and take care of you and help you learn to love yourself more. So here's an example of how we're going to use this. You meet someone while you're still working through stuff. You say, I'm still learning to be kinder to myself, but I really enjoy being around you. That kind of openness allows for grace. That kind of openness allows that person to see where they can step in, depending on how far along you are in dating them or your relationship with them. Being open about your flaws, about your insecurities, the things that you're working on within yourself. When you share that stuff with your partner, if it's the right partner, they hopefully will be able to balance that. And maybe they're stronger in those ways. Maybe they have more self-confidence and they can show you that you don't have to be so worried about what everyone else is thinking. You may not have seen this, but that Selena Gomez interview with her boyfriend, and everyone's always like, why is she with him? He's not as hot as her, blah, blah, blah. And now everyone's obsessed with him because he was talking about how sometimes when she's spiraling or sometimes when her temper flares and things, he knows how to calm her down, how to talk her out of those things. And I'm sure she does the same for him. It's important to have a partner that is going to be able to work with you through those insecurities and be able to complement them, not combat them. The lesson is that healing and connection can coexist. You can heal and you can connect with someone at the same time. You do not need to be fixed to be worthy. You need to be honest, present, and willing to grow. Nobody is fixed. Nobody is perfect, but everyone is definitely worthy of a wonderful, beautiful, lovely, I don't know why I said it like that, relationship. And that brings us around to bad advice. Number 5, the final piece of this wild puzzle. Although I could go on. Here we go. Don't show too much interest. It will scare them away. And that is, again, sort of true, but mostly not. Don't be crazy. Don't be saying you'll love someone on date number 3. But if you're interested in someone and they're ready for what you're ready for, they're not going to be scared away by you communicating with them or just showing that you like them. Whatever. Like, if people are scared that you like them, then they're so not ready to date. Here is why this does not work, because this comes from a fear-based mindset that says that vulnerability equals weakness. When we tell someone how we're feeling, we're being vulnerable. But a lot of people think that is a weakness. It teaches us to suppress our enthusiasm, which is no fucking fun. So we don't come across as quote unquote too much, which honestly is just another way of saying don't be yourself. And who doesn't want to be themselves? Boring, lame, no fun. Here's how it holds us back. It creates this fake version of ourselves, which almost all of these tips really do. And that version is low-key, unbothered, and boring. And maybe not so low-key, unbothered, and boring, just fucking boring. You become... oh, why did I write this? You become emotionally constipated. I could have totally used a different word there, but you become emotionally constipated in an attempt to be cool. And then in doing so, you scare off people who would be into your energy if you would just show it. We hold back so much because we're scared of being too much, but then we're not attracting the right people. The right people are going to be attracted to our too much. So let's reframe it. Why don't we think of it this way? Interest is not desperation, it's direction. If you're showing interest in someone, you are directing that relationship where you want it to go. And if they're not into it, it's not going to go in that direction. But unless you're showing interest and letting somebody know where you're at, your direction is going to be nowhere. Or if you don't like that one, you can also just express genuine interest. It's going to filter out the wrong people and it's going to attract the right ones. It's very, very straightforward. Be honest, be open. Don't be afraid to just let someone know if you want to hang out with them again, if you had fun with them, if you're starting to develop feelings for them. It's better to be open so you know where somebody is at. And if they're scared away, it's their loss, not yours. And why reframing this helps is because it creates emotional clarity. And who does not love emotional clarity? When you show up excited, the people who are also excited about you are going to respond the same way. And then the rest are going to weed themselves out. Excited people are going to be excited about excited people. If someone's excited to date you and you're excited to date them, you're going to be excited together. But if someone's not into you, they're not going to be excited. It's not scary. It shouldn't be scary. What it really is efficient. Let's be efficient here. Let's get rid of the losers who are not ready for what I'm ready for. And let's find someone who is on my page and on my level. So here's an example of how we might want to use this. You might say something like, I really like where this is going, and I'm really excited to see you again. This would be after a few many dates, a handful, a dozen, I don't know, whenever you're comfy saying it. But I really like you. Where is this going? And I'm excited to see you again. What is wrong with that? If someone said that to me and I was interested in them, I would be so excited. If someone said that to me and I wasn't that interested in them, I might be a little freaked out because I wouldn't know how to break the news to them. But that pretty much proves the fucking point here. Very straightforward. If they freak out, they're not your match. And if they say me too, that is called alignment. And we love alignment. The lesson here is that you are not too much for the right person. You are the perfect amount of you for the right person. So don't start diluting that. And that goes for all 5 of those terrible tips that I really hope we turned around into some wonderful little sparkling, I don't know where I'm going with this, good advice that you can take with you into the future. Listen, dating advice is like perfume. Some of it smells great at first, but it's going to give you a headache if you wear it too long. All of those 5 terrible tips, if you use them for too long, like I did, it's not going to work out for you. And the truth is, most of these bad tips are just people trying to protect themselves from rejection and disappointment. But You don't need protection unless you can get pregnant. But what you need is tools. You need communication. You need honesty, grace, willingness to learn and take risks, and just knowing that being open and being true to yourself when you're dating is going to let the right people come to you. So let's ditch the games, get rid of them. Let's get back to showing up for ourselves, continuing to work on ourselves, being messy, being kind, being bold, being curious, taking risks, and learning and fucking up the dating world in the best way possible. So take what works for you from this, toss out what doesn't, and hopefully we're all just going to be friggin', well, I guess summer's coming, so maybe it's like a hot girl summer. But once we get into fall, maybe we'll all be hitting cuffing season together once we put these 5 new tips into play. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Hot Air. Do not forget to follow me on Instagram @_HotAirPod. Make sure you share the episode. You give it 5 stars in whatever podcast app you are listening in. Leave me a little review. Send it to your friends. Watch it on YouTube. Go put it on your Amazon Music. Put it on your Spotify. Listen to it everywhere, over and over and over, because that's not desperate. Right? Speaking of desperation. Anyway, I hope all these tips helped, and I am definitely going to be applying them a little bit more to my future dating. I was going to say dating games. It's not a game. To my future dates. To my prospective future baby daddies. All right. Until next time, I'll talk to you guys soon.